With Mario Kart World's release and YouTubers' love for ranking videos, you're bound to see a lot of videos ranking all the tracks in the game. And those videos are bound to get more and more outdated the older the game gets. But despite that, surely most people are going to base their early rankings off of multiple playthroughs or deeper analysis. I am not most people. I made a tier list of every track purely based off my first race on it. Let's see if first impressions really are everything. Spoiler alert, they're not. A lot of my opinions have already changed, but I'm committed to this idea. You're seeing my initial thoughts and only my initial thoughts. I'm Drewski Rose, and this is my already outdated ranking of every Mario Kart World track. The first track in the Mushroom Cup is Mario Kart Circuit, and apologies for showing my hand this early, but this was my least favorite track in the game. It's not bad, it's a fine enough starter course, but it's just the least interesting compared to everything else. So C tier, I guess? Sure, I feel good about that. Also, by the way, I recorded myself playing through these tracks for the first time, so I'll play a clip from that recording if I had anything noteworthy to say. Like this. Yo, this kind of reminds me of Super Mario. Wow, wasn't that so noteworthy? Anyway, moving on to Crown City. A definite step up for sure. All the elevation was really sick, and I especially like the glide at the end. A tier. I don't have much to say about Whistle Stop Summit. The style is cool, and rail grinding on the train tracks is sick. B tier. But then we get to DK Spaceport. This one is actually really cool, mainly because it's a reference to this one really cool game I like called Super Smash Bros. Joking aside, they do really well with the Donkey Kong theme, and this is also where some of the new mechanics of World really started to shine for me. As for where I'd place it, I could say that's an S tier. I wouldn't be shocked if opinion went down on this for like both me and the general consensus, because it is very much like drive straight, turn, you know? But man, that was cool. Also, I downloaded all these pictures off the wiki like a week ago, and I didn't want to spoil myself over what Rainbow Road looked like, so I just used this picture. Now we have our first Retro Cup. The Flower Cup? Sure, whatever. This has two courses I've always been a fan of, and two I'm not a fan of. Starting with Desert Hills, which fell into the latter category. At least it's original. The remake is better and more interesting, but not dramatically so, like some of the retros in later cups. So the highest I can place this is B tier. Though one funny thing I had to ask myself while on the route to the next track, am I crazy for saying this is better than the Desert Hills track? I almost want to put it down to C tier now, but I'm sticking with my first placement. That's the whole point of this video. Crazy it worked that my ranking became outdated before I even got to the next track, but this is what we signed up for. Shyguy Bazaar is a lot less different, but it was already an A tier course to begin with, so it remains an A tier here. No need to question this placement. After that is Wario Stadium, the last N64 track that hasn't been remade yet, which just so happens to be my least favorite from that game. But forget about that. What about the new Wario Stadium? The track actually has things on it now, and it's not absurdly long for no reason. Thanks for doing the bare minimum I expect from a track. I don't know if I'd rank it super high, but B tier seemed right for now. Then we got Airship Fortress. This has always been one of my favorite tracks as a kid, and I'm always eager to see it be remade. Did the remake live up to my expectations? Yes, it did. I'm not ordering this tier list, but this would be my number one. Moving on. Can I jump over the chain chomp? Not even close. We start the Star Cup with the third DS Retro, DK Pass. Feels weird that they're trying to make it more similar to Mario Summit with them pushing the snowboarding aesthetic, but otherwise, I don't have much to say here. It was good in the original, it's good here, B tier. Then we get to Rosalina's second ice world, Starview Peak. Not only is this track gorgeous, but there's also a super standout water section, which is, weirdly enough, the first time you're able to race on water. I do think that this being the first track to utilize the riding on the water thing is kind of weird. That feels like a more magical set piece that should have been saved for later, but it was also super cool, so it doesn't matter. We got Sky High Sunday next, and this is definitely one of the more strange retro picks. It wasn't a bad course, but it was just an oval, but not a funny oval like Baby Park or Excite Bike. And while World improved its aesthetic a lot, it's still not funny. If I can't even ironically enjoy this mediocre layout, it's going down the C tier. I'm really looking forward to the comments on this one. And finally, there's Wario Shipyard. Turning a driving underwater showcase for 7 into a driving on top of water showcase for World was really smart. But it doesn't feel very Wario anymore? Mainly with the whole color palette changing from purple and yellow to green.
Oh no, the Persona 3 fans are not gonna like this one, am I right?
And also, they removed the Fishbone, who is clearly the greatest Mario enemy of all time, the king of all kings, goat of all goats, and let me make this clear to all the recent Fishboners out there. I'm an OG. Me and my friends were gassing this guy up years before he could ever drive a car. If you need proof, this is my friend, here's his ID, play Super World with comments on playing as Luigi. Thanks. That's all to say, the removal of him is gonna hurt in the rankings a lot. How did it still end up in A tier? Hey there, Future Drisky here. I promise I'll be quick. I personally didn't like how my segments for Shell and Banana turned out, and I don't really feel like rewriting them, so I'll just quickly summarize that all of Shell Cup's tracks went to B, while all of Banana Cup's went to A. Weird how that happened. I didn't have much to say about most of them. The only notes I want to give are that Double Dash's 2 tracks got insane glow-ups, and that I was almost gonna give Faraway Oasis an A tier, but I messed up. What happened to me that race? Is that the worst placing I've had so far? You know, I was thinking about giving that an A, but because I placed 11th, it's B. I lose, therefore it's bad. Also, shoutouts to this clip. Yo, can I jump over that? Dude, I'm trash. Onto the Leaf Cup with Cheap Cheap Falls. And this is another vibe I really like. Not only does it take place during autumn, but it's also based off Japan with this aesthetic. Like, dude, it's autumn Japan. This is another easy A tier. Dandelion Depths had a really sick underground section, but I don't really remember anything else about the track. So, B tier? As for Boo Cinema, I mean, for that name alone, S tier. I don't know how much my placement is influenced by the name, but I don't care. It's Boo Cinema, dog. Drybone's Burnout is up last. Wow, we're really on the last track of the cup already? Sorry for not going into detail about the last few. I guess I've just been feeling a bit dry bones. That's not the line. But yeah, this is another really cool track. The aesthetic is cool. I like the multiple paths at every point, and I also like dry bones, but I wasn't sure if this should be A or S. I did settle on A though. I do want to be a bit strict with my S tier. I feel like a track has to really earn that ranking for me. So let's see if there'll be any more. Lightning, the penultimate cup, starts with Moo Moo Meadows S tier. I was super into farm animals as a kid, so I've always had a soft spot for any track with moo-moos, or cows as they're called now. Seriously, why did they change their names? Moo-moos was iconic. Do you want me to call this track Cow Meadows now? Because I will. The vibe of Cow Meadows is still as great as ever, but there is one issue. In 8's version of Cow Meadows, you can take a glider ramp, which is cool, but if you land on a boost ramp, you can keep your glide while getting a boost. That was awesome. World removes the boost ramp, which is strange since it's been a part of Cow Meadows since the beginning, even if the glider wasn't. It's a shame this version didn't beat out 8's version of the track. Still S tier. From one retro track that was already brought back in 8 to another, Choco Mountain. I wasn't really sure how to feel about this one. It was dramatically changed to the same extent as Dino Dino Jungle, but I don't know if I love the more industrial direction to Choco Mountain. It's neat to see the charge and chucks as hazards, but it just didn't feel very Choco Mountain. And just like Wario Shipyard, they removed the fishbone. I'll give it a B, I guess, but I'm conflicted. Like Wario Stadium, Toad's Factory has never been brought back until World. Seriously, how wasn't this in Tour? So I was excited to play it again. And yeah, it's just as good as it was originally, S tier. 2 S tiers from the same cup. I wonder what these two have in common. And now we have the Bowser's Castle. Dude, what is it with the last few Bowser Castles not having any thwomps? Are they all like Marty? The track itself looks absolutely stunning, but it feels very different from previous variants. And hazards aren't as prominent as well. Still an A tier track, but it's not come close to topping Wii and Double Dash. We've finally arrived at the Special Cup, starting with Acorn Heights. I'm always a sucker for Mario levels where everything is much bigger than you, like World 4 and Mario 3, or the entirety of Mario Party DS, so I definitely approve of this track, A tier. Next we got SNES Mario Circuit. I'm sure this is going to be controversial, but I actually like it. Them combining the 3 variants of the course into one, similar to what 8 did with the Tour Cities, was awesome. From what I've seen, people do have problems with the SNES Mario Circuits appearing in every game and them not being revamped that much, but I actually don't mind. Also, Mario Circuit 4 doesn't need to be here. It's just 3 but slightly different, B tier. Peach Stadium reminds me of Royal Raceway from 8, a fairly standard Mario Kart track, but the pops of pink everywhere make it a lot more visually interesting, A tier. But then we get to the finale, Rainbow Road, the most iconic level theme in Mario Kart, often one of the main highlights of each game. The track I chose not to get the stupid icon spoiled for me. Did it live up to my expectations? Well, it's likely the greatest spectacle of any Rainbow Road. It looks gorgeous and takes you to a bunch of different set pieces. It's sort of a combination of multiple Rainbow Roads from SNES to 64 to 7 to 8. I was really enjoying myself, but there was one question in the back of my mind the whole time. Is this Rainbow Road or is it still the route? The layout didn't feel like anything super crazy to me. It felt like it could have been the intermission to get there. So I wasn't sure what was and wasn't the actual track. Plus, I'm normally more of a fan when Rainbow Roads are super difficult challenges as opposed to victory laps, even if I do like both styles a lot. So in the end, I was surprisingly conflicted. This is probably the hardest placement yet, because I'm not like insane for the layout, but like I love that the whole thing, like the whole route was all a Rainbow Road. But also I don't know if that counts as like the track itself. I think the whole sequence is like an S tier. I think that was pretty sweet. I might regret this one later, but I'm going with it. I think that was really cool. And that's the story of how I saved my credibility. Not only because the majority of what I played was the Rainbow Road and not a route to it, but also because not long after I recorded, I saw a bunch of people say it's possibly the best Rainbow Road in the series. And if I were to put this in B, I don't think I'd ever recover. So that's that, my ranking of every track based off of my first race on them. You're bound to disagree with a bunch of this, so let me know your rankings in the comments, or even something as small as a top 5. Let this comment section be a time capsule of everyone's outdated opinions. Make sure to like and subscribe as well if you want to see more Switch 2 content. Until next time, bye bye!